Hey, what's going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Chris Meaney here of FTN. It is Game 7, the two best words in sports. Game 7 tonight in Sunrise, Panthers and Oilers. Oh, baby, let's go. Really doesn't get much better than this. Clearly, I'm coming in here hot. A lot of my picks in tonight's game, some of them are very similar than the past couple of games. Of course, game 5 worked out for us. Great. Game 6 did not work out for us at all. It's been tough. The edges are really, really sharp here in the playoffs and in particular in the Stanley Cup Final. But I wanted to just come at you guys today, share my thoughts on game 7, and thank you guys. You know, it's been a fun season. There's been more up and downs this year than the previous couple of years over at FTN. We were well over 100 units and my first year and second year over at FTN, we struggled at times in 2 years ago, and this year's been, and at times it's been a bloody bloodbath. It really has. It's been really tough. So there's been some adjustments, but excuse me, I want to just thank you guys for hanging out with me all year long. You know, subscribing to Mean Streets, to Dangle Betselli, smashing the like button, hanging out during the shows, asking questions, all those things. Really do appreciate all the support. So let's try to go out here with a bang. And if you've watched the past couple episodes, Oilers fans are hoping that I am indeed on the Florida Panthers for tonight, because I've been on them the past couple of games to close out the series, and it's been nothing but disappointment from the Florida side, and credit to the Edmonton Oilers. It's just an unbelievable turnaround here. If you just look at this series in general and how it started, you know, you see the first 3 games just dominance by the Panthers. There was some dominance in game 1 by the Edmonton Oilers, but I don't think it's a fluke what the Oilers have done lately. They've just really have been the better team, and the special teams have been fantastic. But 11-4 for the Panthers in the first 3 games, the goals, then 18-5 over the last 3 games, all in favor of the Edmonton Oilers. And the total has creeped over 5.5 in 4 straight games. We've been on that. I think it's like the one thing we got right on this video in game 6. I got a feeling this is going to be a little bit different, lower scoring. It's hard to suggest an under 5.5 at -155, -160. That's really, really juicy. I think maybe playing it, if you wanted to get involved with the total, maybe just leaving it alone until you get into the game. Maybe it's a 3-1 type game, 2-1 type game in the third period, and we see a couple empty net goals, and that worked out for us in game 6. We were lucky to get that over. That sort of stuff could happen here today, especially if it's a 3-1 game in the third. You know, this is it, right? It's game 7. You win or you go home, Stanley Cup. I'm sure that if it was a 2-1 or 3-1 type of game with a few minutes left in the third period, we could see the goalie pulled and just continue to be pulled, and we can get to the over. But I'm just like, that's maybe thinking a little bit too much into it. For me tonight, as we tee up this game, something I said in the game before was the Florida Panthers, you know, not at all. There's no real reason to back this Panthers team. If you've watched this series and you've watched the last few games, there's no real reason to back them, right? Their penalty kill is not great. Oilers seem to figure them out on the power play. Their power play is atrocious. It's just awful. It's been awful throughout this entire final. It was awful in the last round against the Rangers, and you give the Oilers credit. It's again, they're just a historic run on their penalty kill and their power play, same sort of deal. All year dating back to the start of last season. And then you have the momentum, quote unquote momentum. The Oilers winning 3 straight, Skinner looking phenomenal, right? Over these last couple of games, playing great in game 6s in the Stanley Cup playoffs here as well. I'm just going to stick to my guns, and I'm just not a stubborn thing. Panthers in 7 was my prediction. It's hard to back Panthers in 7 given what we've seen over the past couple of games, but I feel like the reason we haven't seen this since the 1942 Maple Leafs is really just tough to come back and win 4 straight, right? It is extremely tough to win 4 straight games. The Oilers would just be the second team ever to do it in the Stanley Cup Finals. The first since the 1942 Leafs. That's it. That's all we've seen. We've seen teams force a 7th. It's tough to win that 7th. Game 7 at home is huge. It's huge. The Panthers have been really good at home throughout the entire year, last year as well, and throughout these playoffs, and in particular against the Oilers at home. There was nothing to get excited about from the Panthers standpoint in game 6. They hardly got any shots. don't think they had a shot from their forward until a couple minutes left in the second period. They played much different in game 3. They played awful in game 4 when the Oilers put up the 8-1 victory there. I thought they were okay in game 3, but they were really strong in game 2, and I thought they were really strong at 5-5 in game 5. So anyways, I'm on the Panthers here tonight. It's nothing to do with hedging and having 18-1 on Florida. There's nothing to do with that. Right now, tonight, Florida Panthers, that's my mindset, that I think they win the hockey game. There's some props that I like, and it does feel like an unders type of game, doesn't it? Like it's game 7. It's going to be tight checking. Shots are going to be blocked, right? There probably won't be a lot of penalties, trips to the box, and hopefully not, right? The refs maybe put the whistles away. I don't want to decide the game. So I think this will be low scoring. I think it will be tight checking. I don't expect a ton of shots, and I'm not coming in here with a lot of unders. I got a card with 4 or 5 picks, and I wanted to share with you guys. I know it's coming at you a little bit late here on this Monday, game 7, but here we are. And we will start with Connor McDavid. You knew it was coming. He's been my guy all year long. He's been my guy. At home in particular, he's been much better all year long and into the playoffs and into this series as well. Carter Verhaeghe over 2.5 shots, minus 145 over at DraftKings. A little bit of a sprinkle over at DraftKings for Verhaeghe to lead this game tonight in shots. There's a couple players that could do this. Reinhart has been very quiet in this series. Could be him. Could be McDavid. I'll get into McDavid in a second, but the fact that he had 0 shots and 0 points in game 6 makes me a little nervous about picking the Panthers here tonight, because it's hard to keep McDavid off the score sheet, let alone doing it in back-to-back games and this being the final game of the NHL season and Connor McDavid being a massive favorite to win the Conn Smythe, and I think he wins it regardless. We've seen it happen 5 times, 4 times been a goalie. You win it, you don't win the cup. J.S. Shigeru in 03, Hextall mid-80s, 87, I think, and also against the Oilers, and it was Gretzky there that year. But really tough to keep McDavid off the score sheet. Could flirt with leading this game in terms of shots, or Hyman could do it, of course. There's a couple guys that could do this. But as for Verhaeghe, he's cleared 2.5 in 2 of the 3 home games in this series. He was stuck on 2 in another one. Told you he was averaging more shots at home this year. 3.4 shots per game at home for 38 games in the regular season at home in Florida, just under 3 on the road. He's cleared 2.5 shots in 8 of his 12 home games here in the playoffs, and he's averaging 3.9 shots per game at home. So I know he was taken off the first power play. None of that stuff really matters to me. He could be back on it. Maurice could move him around again. He needs to get going for Florida to win this. Like, he needs to get going, and Reinhart, this is, like I said, it's time for those 2 guys to get going. But I do like Carter Verhaeghe over 2.5 shots. This one didn't work out for us in game 6, but it did in the previous couple of games. Darnell Nurse over 2.5 blocks at plus 110 over at BetMGM. I expect it's easy to sit here and say you expect a push from someone. It's game 7. Everybody's going to be giddy up and go. But Florida just has had the better of teams at home throughout the playoffs. And against the Oilers, I thought that they've been pretty good. So I think there's going to be a lot of shot attempts towards the goal from Florida. Darnell Nurse, 2 blocks in the last game, but 5 in each of the previous 2. So we're in on him for blocks. Also in on Aaron Ekblad. Also didn't work out for us in game 6. Stuck on 1, minus 160. A little bit of juice here. But I do like the minus 160 for 2 blocks for Aaron Ekblad. He's had 2+ blocks in 7 of his last 8 games. So there's a good trend here. A nice little decent sample size of Aaron Ekblad. I want to go back to Vladimir Tarasenko. Just asking for 2 shots at minus 154 at DraftKings. There's a scenario that could happen in this game where Tarasenko gets bumped up to the top line. We've seen that at times in the playoffs. He could play with Barkov. He could play with Reinhart. They can move Verhaeghe to the second line, Rodriguez to the third line. There's different things that Paul Maurice could do here tonight to get going. But for the most part, the third line has had strong showings at 5-5 in this series. It's a reason why Vladimir Tarasenko leads the Panthers with 14 shots at 5-5 and at all strengths with 17 shots. 3+ shots in every game but 1 in this series. 2+ shots on goal in 9 of his last 10, averaging 3 per game over that span. Vladimir Tarasenko, 2 shots, minus 154 over at DraftKings. And that's basically it. It's really all I'm in on. I think that there is value for Connor McDavid at plus 160 to score a goal at FanDuel. I'm already in on the Conn Smythe. I just don't think he needs any points really. If the Oilers win tonight, I think he gets it. The only way I don't think he gets is if Bobrovsky pitches a shutout. That would be a second of the series. It would have to be like a 45 save performance, 35, 40 save performance, 1-0 or something like that. Maybe Bob gets it. Maybe Barkov has the hat trick, potentially gets it that way. I think it's McDavid's to lose. In a must-win situation, the fact that he had 0 shots and 0 points in the last game, you're looking for more bets, plus 160 for a goal or minus 110 for 2 points at DraftKings. Put him into a parlay for a point. I know it's crazy juice, but maybe you can get some sort of parlay in your life where it's around 2-1 and McDavid gets a point, picks up an apple. I think he scores tonight at plus 160. I think he finds the back of the net. My other guy would be Verhaeghe at plus 220 to find the back of the net. These are 2 parlays that I like. Tkachuk, McDavid, Verhaeghe, Reinhart, Barkov, 2+ shots, each at plus 155. Just trying to tease these guys down to 2. It's tough. You add 5. We've seen some 4 for 5s here over the past couple of nights. As for Barkov, you may be wondering, Barkov is the guy that I want to leave off here, right? McDavid, bounce back for Hagee. Tracker just showed you Reinhart. Minutes are going to be there. Tkachuk, I look back at his performance in Game 5 at home. Thought it was phenomenal. As for Barkov was the best Panther on the ice in Game 6. I don't think it was particularly close. He scored the goal. Heck, he scored 2 goals, if not for the offside. Beautiful goal. The one that counted. Barkov, looking at his track record here at home throughout these playoffs. Where is my notes? Oh, yeah. So this would be the plus money play of the day, too, if like you want to take him 3 shots at plus 114, but I'm teasing him down to 2 shots with these dudes here. Barkov, 2+ shots in all 11 home games in these playoffs. He's only cleared 2.5 in 6 of the 11, but he's had 2+ shots in every game. And I think as the captain, as the leader, right, the minutes have been there for him 20+ in 3 straight. I thought he was the best player on the ice for the Panthers, and I think he's going to lead by example here tonight as well. I think it's maybe good enough to win Conn Smythe, maybe good enough to win the cup. I'm sure that's all he cares about. Barkov, 2+ shots in here with Tkachuk, McDavid, Verhaeghe, Reinhart, plus 155. You want to take Barkov out? You don't want the juice on the 5.5 under at minus 155, minus 160. Don't blame you. This is a one from Bet365 as well. It's Tkachuk, Reinhart, Verhaeghe, 2+ shots with the under 6.5 at plus 140. My prediction here tonight is a 3-1 game. I think we see some sort of empty net goal to make it 3-1. I think it is going to be tight check, and I think it is going to be low scoring. Maybe you want to do an alternate line in there, like the 6, like the 6.5. I've told you that I thought it was going to be an over series. It has been over for the past 4 games have been overs. They've all hit 7+. I think it's 7.2 goals per game on average over the last 5 games. If you include one of the games where the number was stuck on 5, should be phenomenal, right? Game 7, Stanley Cup in the building. Someone's going to win it. McDavid, best player on the planet. What's he going to do for an encore? And the Panthers push back at all here tonight. Well, Bobrovsky, there's a lot of question marks on the Panthers side. I understand why people may be on the Oilers. Again, there's really no rhyme or reason to be on the Panthers except for the fact that they're at home, and it's really tough to lose 4 straight hockey games. That's it. That's the only reason. If you're watching, you feel like the Oilers have been the better team in 4 of the last 5 games. You feel like the McDavid being shut out is not going to happen a second game, and Skinner's been the better goalie of the 2. And every button that Knobloch pushes is the correct one, whether it's a line change, a healthy scratch, moving away from Skinner, going back to Skinner, the offside challenge, which I just thought was crazy challenge. It must have some different camera angles that we're unaware of to challenge that and be on the right side of it. And knowing that your penalty kill is awesome anyways, that you're probably just going to kill that off if you didn't get it correct. All these things are playing towards Edmonton winning this game. Special teams, much better. Power play, PK, all those things, much better. For me, Panthers, home ice. It was always about Game 7. Trying to get rid of the 18-1 ticket and not have that play a factor in my pick here tonight. Let me know your guys' favorite pick, right? There's things that we've been on in this series that I'll probably stay away from tonight. Bouchard and Hyman points, that's plus money. Reinhart Barkov points, that's plus money. Reinhart 3 shots is like minus 135. It jumped all over that, a week ago, but it doesn't seem to be there. Don't want to force things. I would consider an under on Draisaitl shots. I would consider an under on Warren Fogle shots. I would consider an under on Ryan Nugent-Hopkins' point. Things like that. The under, probably a decent player tonight, because typically these game sevens are tight checking, and I don't think it's going to be wide open here tonight. But man, if it is, buckle up because it should be a phenomenal one. Good luck tonight, guys. I appreciate all the support. My apologies for steering you wrong here in Game 6. Hopefully a nice bounce back. I know there's been a lot of up and downs, some of the props this season, but really do appreciate you guys supporting me, supporting Dangle Betselli, and hopefully we can show the bosses next year that DBC is a thing that people like, and we'll be back for year 3. We hope that will happen. So for myself, shout out to my guy, Eric Young. Good luck on the ice. Oilers fans, good luck, right? I'll tell you what, I get some few friends in Edmonton. I was in Edmonton last year in the playoffs. It's an awesome city. Everybody is backing them. It seems like the whole country is backing the Edmonton Oilers, looking to become the first Canadian team to win the Cup since the 1993 Montreal Canadiens. And history, this one may go down as the biggest collapse, I think, in sports history of Edmonton. And credit to the Oilers if they get it done. But this is what we'll be talking about if the Panthers lose 4 straight. That collapse. The Yankees and the Red Sox, that collapse in what was 04 of the ALCS, I believe. How about the Falcons being up 28-3, something silly like that? There's been some crazy collapses in the sports world, but we've only seen this happen once. So we'll see what happens tonight. Good luck on the ice. Enjoy Game 7. We'll talk to you soon. Cheers.